Chapter 4, The Great Outdoors. Both the horse and the man seemed to sniff the air, tasting its freshness and tasting it for danger at the same time. The horse was still making circles with his nose when Little Bear sprang onto his back. The horse, startled, reared slightly. This time Little Bear clung onto his long mane. The horse's front feet had no sooner touched the path than he was galloping. Omri leaped to his feet and gave chase. The horse's speed was remarkable. Omri found that by running along the lawn beside the path, he could keep up quite easily. The ground was dry, and the Indian horse raced along. The most satisfying cloud of dust rose behind them so that Omri could easily imagine they were galloping across some wild, unbroken territory. More and more he found he was able to see things from the Indian's point of view. The little stones on the path became huge boulders. He had to be dodged. Weeds became trees. The lawn on the edge of the escarpment twice the height of a man. As for living things and ants scuttling across the horse's path made him shy wildly. The shadow of a passing bird falling on them brought him a dead stop, crouching and cowering as a full-sized horse might if some huge bird of prey swooped at him. Once again, Omri marveled at the courage of Little Bear faced with all these terrors. It was not courage or recklessness. Little Bear clearly recognized his peril, and when he had his gallop turned the horse's head and came trotting back to Omri, he crouched down to hear him say, "This is much more difficult in the open air somehow." "Danger," said the Indian. "Much. I need bow, arrow, club. Maybe gun?" he asked pleadingly. Omri shook his head. "Then Indian weapons." "Yes," said Omri. "You need those. I'll find them today. In the meantime, we better go back in the house." "Not go shut in place. Stay here. You stay. Drive off wild animals." "I can't. I've got to go to school." "What school?" "A place where you learn." "Ah, learn. Good," said Little Bear approvingly. "Learn law of tribe, honor for ancestors, way of the spirits?" "Oh, something like that." Little Bear was clearly reluctant to return to the house, but he had the sense to realize he couldn't cope outside by himself. He galloped back along the path with Omri running alongside, and, dismounting and re-entered the carton. Omri was just carrying it up the steps. The door suddenly opened, and it was his father. "Omri, what on earth are you doing outside in your pajamas? And nothing on your feet, you naughty boy. What are you up to?" Omri clutched the box to him so hard in his fright he felt the slight bend, and it quickly relaxed his hold. He felt himself break into a sweat. "Nothing. I couldn't sleep. I wanted to go out." "What's wrong with putting on your slippers at least?" "Oh, sorry, I forgot." "Well, hurry up and get dressed now." Omri rushed upstairs and, panting, laid the box on the floor. He opened the flap. The horse rushed out alone and stood under the table, whining and trembling. He had had a rough ride. Full of foreboding, Omri bent down and peered in the box. Little Bear was sitting in the corner of it, hugging his leg, which Omri saw to his horror was bleeding right through the buckskin leggings. "Box jump. Horse get fear. Kick, Little Bear," said Indian, who, though calm, was clearly in pain. "Oh, I'm sorry," cried Omri. "Can you come out? I can see what I can do." Little Bear stood up and walked out of the box. He did not let himself limp. "Take off your leggings. Let me see the cut," said Omri. The Indian obeyed him and stood in his breechcloth. His tiny leg was a wound from the horse's hoof, streaming blood onto the carpet. Omri did not know what to do, but Little Bear did. "Water," he ordered. "Cloths." Omri, through his panic, forced himself to think clearly. He had water in his glass by his bed. That would not be clean enough for it to wash a wound. His mother had some Listerine and a medicine cabinet, and when any of the other boys had a cut, she would add a few drops to some water, and that was a disinfectant. Omri dashed to the bathroom with trembling hands to do what he'd seen his mother do. Took a small piece of cotton wool. What could be used as a bandage, he had no idea at all. But he hurried back with the water, poured some into the Action Man's mess tin. The Indian tore off a minute wisp of cotton wool and dipped it in liquid and applied to his leg. The Indian's eyes opened wide, though he did not wince. "This is not water, it's fire." "It's better than water." "Now tie," said the Indian. "Next, hold in blood." Army looked around desperately. A bandage small enough for a wound like that. Suddenly his eyes lighted on a biscuit tin. There, lying on top, was a First World War soldier with a red armband of a medical orderly. In his hand was a doctor's bag with a red cross on it. It might not have contained if Omri could make it real. Not stopping to think too far ahead, he snatched the figure and thrust it into the cupboard, shutting the door and turning the key. A moment later, a thin English voice came inside and called, "Here, where am I? Come back. You blokes, don't leave a chap alone in the dark."